तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सागररघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सागरललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनिधि नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्या नामिने गौरकृष्णे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपीशा गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे You can be muted and recite along with me. कार्पण्यदोषोपहातस्वभाव पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेता यश्रेयस्या निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम् देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिर्धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यते न जायते म्रूयते वा कदाचिन्नायं भूत्वा भविता वनभूय अजो नित्यशाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे भोगैश्वर्यप्रसक्तानां त्वयापहृतचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि गुणैकर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते एवं परम्परा प्राप्तम् इमं राजर्षयो विदुः सकाले नेह महता योगो नष्टपरं तपः परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्मसंस्थापनार्थाय सम्भवामि युगे युगे जन्मकर्म च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वता त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन तद्विद्धि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया परीक्षन्ति ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुःखयो न एव ते आद्यन्तवन्त कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुधा भोक्तारां यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेनन्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां समे युक्ततमो मतः Okay, who want to recite today? Yes, Prabhu. Okay, thank you. So, till last class, we discussed the three questions of Arjuna. Yeah, in one sense, here two questions. The first is what is the behavior of Sthita Prajna? And second is how Sthita Prajna controls his senses, restricts his senses. So, that we have discussed. So, the restriction of senses is by separating the senses from sense objects, like the tortoise closing its limbs when there is a danger. And but just doing that is not sufficient, but one should engage the intelligence in contemplating on transcendental knowledge. So by that, the taste for material sense enjoyment, that will also go away. Then, but that is also, then Krishna describes the dhyayato vishambhamsa, that it's very, means the senses are very restless and they can carry away even a man of intelligence. So for that, matparaha, so devotion to Lord, which is an anga of karma yoga, so that is also needed. So that completes it. Then the senses are gradually purified from attachment and aversion, and one becomes fixed. So then, now the third question of Arjuna, in one sense, this is more relevant to Arjuna also. That engaging senses with sense objects. How is Sita Pragya engages senses with sense objects? So that Arjuna is asking. Okay. Yes, bro, you can recite with me. Apuryamanam achala pratishtitam samudramapa pravishanti yadvat.
अपरि अपूर्यमानम् अचलप्रतिष्ठं समुद्रमाप प्रविशन्ति यद्वत्
तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी.
तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी.
Yeah. So, so naturally, when senses come in contact with sense objects, there will be a desire to enjoy. Hmm. So that is like natural for everyone, unless one is very, very advanced to Krishna consciousness. But this is a natural for most of the devotees, most of the people, and even devotees also. Hmm. Yeah. Means this happens like when there is, as one has to do his prescribed duties, which is the case of Arjuna here. So he is going to face temptations, and especially the temptations for Arjuna are seeing his relatives, especially Bhishma and Drona. So that's why Arjuna is asking this thing also. Okay. So the temptation or desire to enjoy. So what this shloka is telling, uh, the kama, the kama means the lusty temptations are going to come. So, but what Sthita Prajna does, he remains indifferent to them. Like it's giving an analogy is being given. Like how ocean remains still, though so many rivers flow into the ocean remains still. So that is how Sthita Prajna remains indifferent to it and is fixed in his service or like prescribed duty, whatever. But a materialist, what he succumbs to the temptation and he decides to enjoy the sense objects. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires, still incessant flow that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace and not the man who strives to satisfy his desires. Yes, bro, you can read the highlighted section.
Although the vast ocean is always filled with water, it is always, especially during the rainy season, being filled with much more water. But the ocean remains the same, steady. It is not agitated, nor does it cross beyond the limit of its brink. That is also true of a person fixed in Krishna consciousness. As long as one has the material body, the demands of the body for sense gratification will continue. The devotee, however, is not disturbed by such desires because of his fullness. A Krishna conscious man is not in need of anything because the Lord fulfills all his material necessities. Therefore, he is like the ocean, always full in himself. Desires may come to him like the waters of the river that flow into the ocean, but he is steady in his activities and he is not even slightly disturbed by the desires of sense gratification. That is the proof of Krishna conscious man, one who has lost all inclination for material sense gratification, although the desires are present. Because he remains satisfied in the transcendental loving service of Lord, he can remain steady like the ocean and therefore enjoy full peace.
Yeah. Okay. Of course, this is a very advanced platform. Means the proof of a Krishna conscious man is he has lost all inclinations for material sense gratification. That may not be case for sadhakas. Those who are very advanced, they are like that level. Let's say Prabhupada could go and preach in the Bauri, where there is all kinds of temptations. Mm. So that is the heart of Maya, they say, means in New York and Manhattan and all. So Prabhupada could is at that level and he could do that. But yeah, we have to see, means, but this is a principle that we need to remain indifferent and we need to be focused on our thing. Yeah, then Prabhupada is contrasting with others. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now, but why this topic at all has to be discussed? That no, why we has to discuss engaging with sense objects? Is it not possible to just focus our senses in Krishna service always? Krishna's service or remembering Krishna always? Anyone wants to answer? Mm. Yes, Prabhu.
Can I answer, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Question is like this now: why one has to engage with the sense objects? Can't one focus all senses in Krishna's service?
Always.
Yeah, Krishna's senses are compared with the serpentines, and they can be only controlled when one focuses all the senses in Krishna's service. Even if there is one shloka on this, even one of the senses, even if it is not controlled,
Mm.
it can bring this disaster.
Yeah, but then why Krishna is discussing this thing now? Sense, why Krishna has to discuss how one has to engage with sense objects?
They get purified, na? Senses get purified.
So, okay, senses gets purified. So, why you have to engage with sense objects?
Why do you have engage in the sense objects?
Uh,
We have to engage them in the sense objects of the means Lord's senses.
okay, take it. Yes, Shrikant Pro, we will discuss it. Thank you.
If I understand the
Mm.
question correctly, Prabhuji, it's because we have our selfish desires
Mm.
uh, for sense enjoyment, for
Mm.
our own enjoyment,
Mm.
that forces us, and that doesn't allow us to be engaged in Krishna service 24 hours.
Okay.
And hence, we're not at that level, and hence, we need to engage with sense objects. So, better.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, correct. Yeah, this is one point. Yes, Muskan Mataji, you want to add something?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, Krishna is talking about sense objected and its purification because
Mm.
we human beings are kind of social animals, and since we have so like senses, so we can't sit quietly and do meditation kind of thing and go on Himalaya. So there is need to control our senses and uh, divert it. So that's why Prabhupada gives us this process where we have to utilize our every senses in Krishna's service.
Mm. Okay, fine. Anything else? Okay, anyone else? Mm. Yeah, take it. So one reason is correct, but we are not at that level where no, we can always engage in Krishna service all the time. So one needs to do prescribed duties. So one has duties as grihastha, even as brahmachari, some has duties. So that is there, and so so one has to engage with the world, and the world means it is full of vishaya and vishayis. People attached to sense objects or sense objects. So one has to do that. So how one has to protect oneself while doing that. So that is going to be discussed now. And in the context, and another thing, yeah, uh, one thing is, yes, our tradition and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all, the emphasis is not just on doing sadhana. So that way, we need to engage in practical devotional service and also in outreach or preaching. So for that also it is needed. So, and in the context of Bhagavad Gita, the Krishna is being Arjuna who is going to fight a war. And fighting a war means engaging with sense objects. So that this is also helping Arjuna. That's why Arjuna asked Krishna also this question. Means that is one of the reasons. Means that can be said like that. How a Sthita Prajna engages with the sense objects in the world. Conducts himself in a world which is filled with sense objects. Because Arjuna has asked this question only, Krishna is answering. But yeah. Okay. Yeah. So now avoiding temptations while interacting with sense objects. Because that is a default setting. When senses come in contact with sense objects, temptations are going to come. So first thing is one should expect temptations when one is engaging with sense objects. But while doing it, some ways to deal with it. So first is one should have clarity of purpose. Why one is engaging with a particular sense object. So one should know, okay, for what need, for fulfilling what need I am engaging with this sense object. And one should also have some understanding of what all threats, because Krishna told that the boat example, that a strong wind can drown a boat. So even one sense gets distracted, uh, it can carry away the intelligence and the purpose will get changed. So for that, one should also proactively understand, okay, what all threats can be there while engaging with this sense object for this purpose. Then one should have some practical intelligence. Okay, because we are not at that advanced level that as Prabhupada told that the devotee will be pure and he will not be unaffected. He will not have any inclinations to enjoy, but we are not at that level. So as per our adhikar and also as per the need, we have to see uh, what should be the do's and don'ts while engaging with that particular sense object. And eventually we have to see how to spiritualize it or how to reduce that engagement over time. Yeah. So, yeah, okay. So, for example, if we take, let's say, a student's life for studying, so then the purpose is what? To study, to learn something for that, so that one has to get some job and that is needed in the world. So, for that, so what all threats, yeah, there can be bad association or somebody may get into too much materialistic goals of getting materialistic ambitions. So that is one thing. And so if one gets into that, then one will not have time for Krishna consciousness. So what are do's and don'ts? Yeah, one thing is one should spend some regulated time, not too much time. And while dealing with students, other students, friends, and all classmates. Yeah, classmates. So one has to be careful that one doesn't take their association, but only deal with them as much as needed. Only for education purposes, if they want some help or if we need their help or something. And also one should not do prematurely anti-preach them. And that is also, if they are favorable, then one can do that. So like this, some do's and don'ts, we should have some practical intelligence. And yeah, if you can, yeah, if there are some favorable people, if there is some opportunity to preach or something, you can try that. Or yeah, we should try to reduce it. Of course, over time means education will be for some time only. So that will anyhow reduce. So yeah, one should see how much one has to study for how many years and all. It's like that. Accordingly, one has to have some understanding of that. Okay, so you can take some time, maybe you can take 10 minutes. And these are 6 things. So first is social media. So first, social media, what should be our purpose? What should be a devotee's purpose in using social media, and how, what can be the needs, possible threats, and possible do's, don'ts, and how to spiritualize it or how we can reduce it. Like that for social media, for gadgets, for money and assets, for children and colleagues and corporate environment, relatives, family functions. Can take maybe 10 minutes and then we'll discuss.
Hey.
Okay, so for the first one, for social media, who wants to answer? Anyone else? Yes, Yashas Pro can answer.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Krishna.
Yeah, Prabhuji, my voice is clear to you.
Yeah, it's
Actually, there is some network issue, right? Yeah. So while using the social media, for example, we are using social media for preaching and other things and sending invitation. But it's seems sometime while using social media, we are engaged so much in social media and we forgot our sadhana and all these things. And we are taking our sadhana very lightly because we think it's a seva. And sometimes, while using social media, we see some another stuffs and some Mayavadi stuff and all these nonsense things and materialistic things. So we have to be careful while using the social media because it's a very best way to preach, but sometimes it may be it can be distract us.
Yeah, so the purpose has to be clear. Okay, if one has to use it for preaching, yeah, that is there. But it may be also needed in the for professional purposes also. But one should have a purpose. One should not use it just for recreation or time pass or that way. If one has to study about something or learn about something, then also it's okay. Okay, yes. Next, what should be do's and don'ts? Yeah, one has to be careful and all you're told. Okay. And yeah, if we can spiritualize, that's what. If we can do some preaching or something, that is good. Or over time, we have to see how to minimize it. In Yeah, there are ways to regulate it. There are parental controls, how much hours we spend on that, and also preferably one can use on laptop. Means there is lot of about digital detox and all. Some days we can try to minimize it. Every week on a one day we can try to not use it or something like
Mm.
that. Okay. Yes, about gadgets, someone wants to answer. Gadgets and some other things also. Luxurious items, whatever. Okay, anyone else? Okay, Sharad Pro, yes, you can answer.
Yes, so for gadgets, the purpose could be attending the live classes or fulfilling the occupational needs which may arise.
Mm,
So that could be the purpose and interacting with devotees and friends. So that could be the basic need of any gadget.
mm,
Do's and don'ts do's would be to use it only for the mentioned purpose, and don'ts would be we should not unnecessarily use to doing other things like watching movies or
mm,
just surfing social media and all. So that we can avoid.
mm. And also,
And
we need okay, yeah, tell, please tell.
yeah, to spiritualize it, we can take live darshans and attend live Bhagavatam classes if we are not
Yeah,
near temple or somewhere. So
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yes, yes, thank you. Uh, yes, Yashas, bro, you want to add something?
Uh, yes, Praji. For example, in our preaching purpose, sometimes we use modern gadgets. Like at the time of Prabhupada, he using dictaphone for translation.
Mhm,
So if it is very needful in our preaching or in our some activities which can be reduce our time,
mhm,
or so we can engage our more as much as time in service of Krishna. So it's very good, and we should not be show use our gadget to show up. I think so.
Good, good, thank you. Yeah, that is a popular culture outside. And yeah, we need not run after every new model of every gadget. So the purpose has to be clear. So that is there. Okay. Shrikant, do you want to add anything to the first point?
No problem.
Okay, okay. Okay, so about third question, money and assets. Okay. Yes, Shrikant, Pro, you can tell.
Money, it's needed. Money and assets like house or car, they are needed for our basic necessities.
Mm,
Uh, and we also need it for our devotional activities. We have to attend yatras, we have to attend courses.
mm,
Home and all is needed if you want to keep programs
mm,
at home and all. So assets are needed for that. Threat is that
mm,
we may endure more for it, and it's said that luxury, once it is enjoyed, it becomes a necessity.
yeah.
So that's
Next.
why we should be not comparing it with others. We should understand our needs. And if we just compare with others, then we'll always find a person who has more money or more assets. So it's a never-ending game.
Mm,
So we should not do a lot of prayas for that.
mm,
That is the threat.
mm,
Do's is we should earn honestly,
mm,
uh, spend and live a lifestyle which is maintainable and comfortable so that we can focus on Krishna consciousness. Don't do unnecessarily austerity or not have very lavish lifestyle which is not maintainable, where we have to take loans and all.
Okay,
And for
very good.
don'ts, yeah, again, unnecessary spend while comparing others. Spiritualize is like, yeah, obviously we can donate the hard-earned money, some portion of it for the preaching activities, household and all we can use for preaching. And for minimizing money and assets, is I heard that for this retirement planning, we don't retire when we have a lot of money. We should retire when we have less dependence on money. So we
Okay.
should minimize and reduce our dependence on money as much as we can.
Yeah, thank you. Very nice points. Yeah, it can be others, other devotees also. Yes, Yashraj, do you want to add something?
No, but yeah, I think the most of the things is covered. But yeah, as we can see, so here is not only money, there is assets also.
Mm,
So I want to add some points in assets. So for example, if I have lots of land,
mm,
so I can utilize it for the make constructing temple,
mm,
because in my hometown there is one Prabhuji.
mm.
So he have lots of land, so he donate to our ISKCON.
Okay.
So if we have lots of land and we think, okay, I have lots of land, I have more than my enough, so I can, so we should donate. We can donate our asset also. And there is one also devotee in my city. So he's a farmer. So
Mm,
he gives some portion of his farming to the temple for the
okay.
help of devotee. And one more devotee have some printing type of business. So he
Mm,
print our flexes and all these things
yeah.
in a free. So
Okay.
yeah, if we have some skill and we have some asset, or we have some business like which can be helpful for temple and devotees, so we can do that.
Mm, okay. Yeah. Thank you. Nice point. Yeah, we may not. Yeah, one may not be in a position to give the entire asset, but at least if land, at least we can invest the land and give the returns to temple or something, or part of the returns. That is also okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Now about children. When children also can be sense objects. We have example of Chitraketu and others. So from that perspective. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, yes, bro, you can tell.
Shall try. Children are needed because of our emotional needs, physical needs, right? So we want to be parents.
Yeah.
We have the desires. So children are needed for that. Also, I think there is a loan that if
Mm.
we cannot repay the loan of our parents, but if we take care of the children, then that is repaid. That is
Yeah.
another reason for having children. Threat is that.
Mm.
I mean, we should have as many children as we can manage with our
Mm.
financial and other needs, because just
Yeah.
to bring up one child, we need a whole
I
village.
think your audio is.
To cultivate them, uh, we need a lot of energy
Yeah.
and things. So that's the threat part of it. Do's is that we should teach them good values. We should look after their overall development. So their physical needs, their health is good, their studies are good. They also have some good skills like kirtan or music and other things, and also spiritual needs. So overall development, do's. Don'ts is that we shouldn't have very high expectations or I mean, yeah, like if I'm not able to become an IS, I'll become a father of an IS. So
Mm.
people talk like that. So we should have realistic expectations from the children,
Mm.
and to spiritualize it, we can tell them like nice stories, teach them prayers, shlokas, engage in like deity worship. Children like a lot if they have their own set of deities and kirtans.
Yeah.
And again, yeah, minimizing is to have less expectations from them.
Yeah. 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 Basically, do's and don'ts. One thing is one should also learn how to be a good parent. One may be a good devotee if they don't know how to be a good parent, then that can create problem disturbance to Krishna consciousness. So so one then only one can have understanding of what is good don't do's and don'ts. Even while using social media also, one should understand what is social media and how to use it and what are the problems and all. Means one should have some understanding of social media, then only one can figure out do's and don'ts. Yes, Muskan Mataji, you want to tell about children?
Prabhuji, can I tell fifth point, that is colleague and corporate culture, if children
Yeah,
part is
yes.
done?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
So Prabhuji, purpose is to do our only official work with
Mm,
them, and it is our duty to earn money
yeah.
and take care of our family. And as Prabhuji said in Money and Asset Part, that how
Mm.
can we utilize money and our asset in Krishna conscious. So
Mm.
this is purpose, and threat
Mm.
is um, if we involve too much in this corporate culture, there are chances that we may get fall down
Mm.
and too much attached with it.
Mm.
And those is we should talk in limit,
Mm.
and we can preach them and give prasad to them.
Mm.
And since we are devotee or practicing devotees,
Mm.
so we should set an example for them, that how devotees are like tolerant and humble. Like
Yeah.
if we don't behave properly, then they might think that, oh, they are Hare Krishna people and they are doing this or that.
Yeah.
So these are do's, and don't is we should not get attached to them, and we should not take their talk. We should not take their talk seriously and persuade with them, ki, let's party tonight and all.
Yeah.
And we should not spend more time with them, as being in non-devotees association. There are chances that it not chances. I can definitely say that
Mm.
it impact our consciousness. So
Yeah.
these are don'ts.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. If they're favorable, we can preach to them. And yes, Yashas, you want to add something?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So while working in the corporate, so there is a chances so we can be struck in the mice race.
Yeah.
So for example, sense enjoyment, sometime
Mm.
our colleagues offered us for just okay, just drink liquor and eat meat and all this thing. So we should avoid
Mm.
that culture. And as Mataji said, we have to set an example for our colleagues so they can take interest in Krishna consciousness, because our behavior tells more than words.
Yeah.
So if we behave properly, behave like a gentleman,
Yeah.
so we can preach them very easily. We can invite them for Janmashtami festivals. But first thing, our behavior. So if our behavior is friendly and
Yeah.
our work is very sophisticated, our dealing is very sophisticated and gentle,
Yeah.
so it is very easy to preach and make them devotee. And sometime there is so many corporates of devotees, so what they do, it's not very big in very big in scale, but I see that they allow them their colleagues for example, they invite for Janmashtami festival, because I heard one from one devotee.
Mm.
There is one there is one devotee and he has some coaching classes, so he do device courses in his coaching and teach the children for you are not their body, you are not soul. So it's very easy if our some devotee is in teaching line. So I have lots of friends who comes in the Krishna consciousness because of their teachers.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Very nice. Thank you. Okay. With the last, uh, parents, relatives, and yeah, attending family functions, etc. Okay. Yes, bro, you can tell. Yes, Yashas, bro, you can tell.
Yes, Prabhuji. So while dealing with parent, relative, and family function, we have to be very careful,
Yeah.
because we should not create any debatable situation, because I'm facing sometime this kind of thing. So while dealing with parent, we have to be very calm, and we should not be just like a fighting mood. Okay, you are wrong, this is wrong. We have to be very calm. First, we have to show them how Krishna devotees are, how they behave. So if they see, okay, this is very gentle process, it's very good. So they automatically accepted it. And otherwise, if we do the okay, no, no, you are wrong, I am right, as per the Shastra, these. So what I think for my experience, actually in their eyes, you are just a children. If it doesn't matter, you are a big devotee, you are very multimillionaire and all these things. If for my mother, I am just his son. So for example, I have to be behave like this. Okay, I can take some service and help to her. So she's think oh, because before coming Krishna, I did nothing. So after coming Krishna, I do some seva in kitchen and something. So she said, okay, look, you learned so many things in ISKCON. So she attracted by the ISKCON and all these
Your
things. So
voice is
it can be
breaking.
good. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Yeah, Prabhuji. So yeah, for while dealing with parent relatives, so we have to be very careful. So my end of the result is, so we should not be fanatic. We should be very gentle and very calm at that time, especially while dealing with relatives and family function. Because it's a very good opportunity to preach, but sometimes if we are going with to the debate and some other philosophies, some philosophical debates, so it may be very bad for relationship. And if our relationship gets disturbed, so it may also disturb our Krishna consciousness, because sometimes parents get against our we can say our practices. So it may be chance, because I have lots of friends, so they have same problem, because sometimes their parents think that okay, oh, if he did so many devotional activities, so he may be a sadhu and all this thing. So we have to be very pakka and we have to be clear. So I told them, okay, you go to the temple.
Yeah.
So yeah,
The principle is being polite and being firm.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else
Can
wants
I
to?
speak, Prabhuji?
Yes, bro.
As far as dealings are concerned with the parents, relatives, and the family, we have to be affectionate with them, not to interrupt their sense enjoyment, not to forcibly try to control that. We should not forcibly try to bring to Krishna consciousness. Other than that, like we should gradually as per the situations, very intelligently we should preach to the children and the family and relatives, and that too when they are ready to listen and accept. If they are not ready to listen and accept, so better if some relatives they are very stubborn on that part, so we should keep distance from such people. We should avoid them.
Yes.
And parents, we have to be affectionate, we have to be humble, we should not be attached to any of these three, not even to the family also.
Yes.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Very nice
Thank
point.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Over time, we have to see if somebody is receptive, we can focus on them instead of others. And yeah, that's a nice point. Yes, Shrikant Pro, want to add something?
In one Nityanand Sabha, I heard from Dwarkadish Prabhu mentioning that about not being fanatic, right? Because sometimes we have received a lot from the devotees, and that's why we have changed. We were not like this before. And same thing, the parents or relatives. Is it clear now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So saying that we have received a lot of mercy from devotees, a lot of knowledge and information from devotees, a lot of care. And after that, we have changed. We were not like this before. But same things our parents and relatives have not received, but we expect them to be like us immediately. So example he gave is like if parents ask for tea or something, we should not shout at it like, how can you ask for tea? But if need be, we can actually make tea for them and give as well. So that's the point I remember.
Thank you. Yeah, so these are all different situations, but there may be more where one has to deal with sense objects or someone attached to sense objects. So one has to be clear with purpose, then one has to have some intelligence also, that and over time one becomes mature, one has to take guidance and then see. Okay. So one thing is one has to be expert, like how one has to, like, as a parent, one should learn about parenting. or even when if one has to use technology like social media, one should know what are the dangers and how to deal with it, about parental control and things like that, if one has to deal with it. About money also, one has to see how to manage money, you know. So yeah, okay, thank you. So we'll go to the next shloka. Vihaya kaman yas sarvan pumanscharati nispruhaha.
विहाय कामान् यः सर्वान् पुमांश्चरति निःस्पृहा
Nirmamo nirahankaro sashantimadhigacchati.
निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः स शान्तिम् अधिगच्छति.
So in the previous sloka, Krishna told while engaging with the sense objects, what one should do. One should not succumb to the temptations, and one should be fixed in one's prescribed duties and on the transcendence. Now, yeah, means basically one should not become lusty while engaging with the sense objects. So in that also, another important thing while doing all this is one should have a good sadhana. So that is what one should restrict senses, or one should practice restricting senses, and so that will regulate them, so they will not too much get entangled with the sense objects while engaging with them. So first one, if one has good sadhana, then one can deal with these things in a better way also. Okay, the translation. A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace. So Vihaya Kama Nyasarva means he has he does not have much lust. Nispruhaha renounces all sense objects except for sustenance. So except what is needed, one does not engage has any sense gratification. Means this is an advanced stage. So one does not have any lust, and he does not have any sense of false ego and possessiveness. Yeah. If you say Indra has a lot of possessiveness, and he has that kama, means to get prestige and all. And if you see Brajavasis, their all desires are centered around serving and pleasing Krishna. Even when they prayed to Krishna also for protection of their calves and all, they wanted their calves to be protected because their calves are dear to Krishna. It's not because it is their calves. So that way. Yeah. Okay, yes, bro, you can read the highlighted portion.
To become desireless means not to desire anything for sense gratification. In other words, desire for becoming Krishna conscious is actually desirelessness. To understand one's actual position as an eternal servitor of Krishna without falsely claiming this material body to be oneself and without falsely claiming the proprietorship over anything in the world is the perfect stage of Krishna consciousness. One who is situated in this perfect stage knows that because Krishna is the proprietor of everything, everything must be used for the satisfaction of Krishna. Arjuna did not want to fight for his own sense satisfaction, but when he became fully Krishna conscious, he fought because Krishna wanted him to fight. For himself, there was no desire to fight, but for Krishna, the same Arjuna fought to his best ability. Real desirelessness is desire for the satisfaction of Krishna, not an artificial attempt to abolish desires.
Yeah. Yeah. So, in desirelessness. Yeah, as one practices this properly, like one practices the restricting senses properly, and also engaging the senses properly by cultivating spiritual knowledge and by engaging in devotional service, then the senses get slowly purified, and the desire to enjoy through senses, the lust also gets purified. So then one can come to this stage and practice this stage, that vihaya kama, and one may use only sense objects. One wants to renounce all engagement with sense objects, but for the sake of service and all, one may do it. Like it happened like Prabhupada when the Mayapur temple was, in the early phases of construction. So Prabhupada had a bhajan kutir, but and Prabhupada is staying in Bhajan Kutir and going for nature's call in the in the wild, means in the forest, in the nearby forest jungle, in the open. Yeah. And but devotees constructed no a palace, Prabhupada's palace. Now it is means Prabhupada Samadhi there. So that rooms they constructed. But no, Prabhupada told no, I don't want. Why I need? It's too opulent and all. So then devotees told Prabhupada, Prabhupada, if you stay in this hut, no one will come to meet you. No press reporters, no one will come to meet you. But if you stay in there, no many VIPs and no press reporters, they will be, they will be more attracted, to meet you. So then Prabhupada, oh yeah, then I will stay there. So one can be in that one, when one is very much purified, then one can accept things for sake of service also. Means at sadhaka level also one can do, but one should see one sadhaka do. Okay. Now in the next verse, what Krishna is telling, if one just stays in this consciousness, then at the end of life they will attain Brahman. Means one is fully freed from lust, and one has renounced all sense objects except only for needful purposes. One has renounced all sense objects, and one does not have any false ego and possessiveness. Okay. एषा ब्रह्मी स्थितः पार्थ नैनं प्राप्य विमुह्यति
एष ब्रह्मी स्थितिः पार्थ नैनं प्राप्य विमुह्यति
स्थितिवश्याम् अन्तकालेऽपि ब्रह्मनिर्वाणमृच्छति
स्थितवास्यम् अन्तकालेऽपि ब्रह्मनिर्वाणमृच्छति.
So here I think the first time the word Brahman is being mentioned in the shloka. This is the way of the spiritual and godly life after attaining which a man is not bewildered. So when one has attained this consciousness of free from false ego and no desire and renounced the sense objects, no lust and no sense of false ego and all, then one will not be distracted by anything. And as one continues at the end of life, one will attain Brahman. If one is thus situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. Yeah. So two things. One should remain unaffected by the material world, and one should be situated in Brahman. So the first, this Brahmi is one is situated in Brahman. And so then at the end of life, one will attain Brahman. So then one will attain liberation and attain Brahman. Yes, you can read the highlighted part.
Nirvana means ending the process of materialistic life. According to the Buddhist philosophy, there is only void after completion of this material life. But Bhagavad Gita teaches differently. Actual life begins after the completion of this material life. For the gross materialist, it is sufficient to know that one has to end this materialistic way of life. But for persons who are spiritually advanced, there is another life after this materialistic life. Before ending this life, if one fortunately becomes Krishna conscious, he at once attains the stage of Brahma Nirvana.
Yeah, for Buddhists, it is like no nothing. Means for them, this world is entirely suffering, is filled with suffering. Means samsara is filled with suffering. And if one attains nirvana, then there is no suffering. That's all. But in our Sanatana Dharma, and even in our Krishna consciousness, so there is life after life. Means there is life after death. Means that's what there is life after liberation. In the spiritual world. So that yeah, Lakshmi Sahasrashata Sambrama Sevyamanam, all that is there. Chintamani Prakarasatma Sukalpa Vriksha. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, one should be captivated by this information. Yeah, even in Janmashtami also we are hearing about pastimes of Krishna. So there is a lot of colorful life after death for a devotee also. Okay, so why Bhaktivinoda Thakur named this chapter as contents of Gita summarized, because Generally, this Sthita Prajna section is more in some way related to Jnana Yoga, and that Matpara verse and all that is related to Bhakti Yoga. So that way, first Karma Yoga is described. First, in Karma Kanda is described when Krishna says, Arjuna, if you fight, you will go to heaven and all. So that is Sakama Karma. Then Krishna talks about Nishkama Karma. Then in some ways, Sthita Prajna section is something somewhat similar to Jnana Yoga, and then also Bhakti Yoga. So in that way, it is like the contents of Gita summarized. Okay, so we will just revise these things. So first in this section, of course, it starts with the Arjuna gives 4 reasons, and in this chapter he gives the 5th reason. The fifth reason is no, he gets confused and no, he's concerned about how such respectable people like Bhishma and Drona, I can fight with them or kill them or something. So he gets very confused about whether he has to fight or he has to beg, whether he will win or he will get defeated, all these things. Then he will surrender to Krishna, and then Krishna gives the knowledge of Atma. So Atma has different things, aspects are discussed. One is Atma is an eternal being. Krishna says, I am there, you are there, and all the kings always exist. Then it passes through different bodies of life, Dehinosmin Yada Dehe, and it is indestructible, it is immutable, it does not change. Then the Atma symptom is it pervades as consciousness throughout the entire body. It is unborn, it does not have a beginning, it is primeval, it is eternal. It is invisible and it is inconceivable. Subtle things are invisible but not inconceivable, but Atma is spiritual, so it is inconceivable and it is found everywhere, so it is Sarvagata. So based on the Atma Gyan, Arjuna tells how he answers the question of Arjuna. Arjuna is concerned about causing pain to the Bhishma and Drona and Kaurava army. So one thing he says, they are not only their bodies are getting killed, the Atma is going to be there eternally. And one should tolerate happiness and distress. So Arjuna should, they're temporary. Even for Bhishma, Drona also, it is temporary pain. After that, they will get new bodies, and that is good for them. So Arjuna should tolerate the happiness and distress of all this, and he should do his duty of fighting. And if one is, and in Atma means at the Atma level, and one is doing his duty, then one is not actually killing. One is not killing the soul, one is only killing the body. But since it is being done as a duty, so one will not get sick. Yeah. Prabhupada also refutes some Mayavad, like Atma is indivisible, then how can Brahman be indivisible and all like that. Prabhupada refutes Mayavad philosophy. Then the Karma Kanda section comes where Krishna tells Arjuna that if you do your duty as a proper Kshatriya, you will go to heaven. And if you lose, you will go to heaven. And if you win, you will get the kingdom. Otherwise, you will be dishonored by everyone, by the general people, then Bhishma, Drona, then Kauravas, everyone. You will be dishonored. Then uh, Krishna explains Buddhi Yoga, which is Nishkama Karma Yoga. So the benefits, initially Krishna contrasts Sakama Karma, means Karma Kanda and Nishkama Karma. So the benefits of Nishkama Karma is there is focused purpose in life, and there will be focus and it is permanent benefit. But the Sakama Karma is like temporary benefit. It's like you go to heaven and then again your punya will go over, you will come back. So that is there. And the Sakama Karma, it's lot of huge endeavors have to be done for performing yajna and all, but which is not so much in Nishkama Karma. And yeah, purpose is not there and there is no focus in Sakama Karma because always one will be distracted by material things. Yeah, Nishkama Karma, one should be equipoised in duality and there should not be doership mentality. One should be dutiful but should not have controllership mentality. And one should not focus on enjoying the results. Whatever results will come as per the destiny, one should be satisfied with it. Yeah, so it is based on Upanishads and following the Varnashram. So when one does Nishkama Karma, the intelligence gets purified in this way. First, one will be freed from pious and sinful reactions. So in that way, the third question of Arjuna, freeing means fear of getting sin by killing relatives, that is addressed. Then one is freed from the bondage of birth and death eventually. Yeah, that will happen eventually. But first, intelligence is freed from illusion of enjoyment of various temptations in Vedas. One will get, and then intelligence becomes fixed in Atma. Yeah. Then the Sthita Prajna section comes. So in Sthita Prajna, there are 3 questions. Yeah, 4 questions asked Arjuna, but yeah, can reduce them into 3 questions. So first is, what is behavior of Sthita Prajna? Like, yeah, first question, who is a Sthita Prajna and what are his characteristics? How to identify one? So Krishna answers that he's indifferent to dualities and he's focused on Atma. So dualities is like temptations within the mind, and there is sukha and dukkha externally, there is affection and hatred externally. So he'll be fixed, he will not be affected by them. And then how Sthita Prajna restricts the senses? So he separates the senses from sense objects, like tortoise closing its limbs. Then he's fixed in the transcendental knowledge, so that even that desire for enjoying sense objects also will not be there. Then, but even then the senses are very strong, and a man of intelligence can be distracted. So that for that one should also have the element of bhakti, which is one of the anga of Nishkam Karma Yoga. Then one's senses will be fully controlled and they'll be free from attachment and aversion, and one will attain satisfaction, that is prasada. Okay, then what about engagement? Then how one can engage sense? How a Sthita Prajna engages senses with sense objects? So his purpose is very clear, spiritual purpose. So that's why that verse is there. That what is the day for a spiritual person is night for a materialist. So that was there. And then one should be indifferent to the temptations created by the mind because of contact of senses with sense objects, and one should not succumb to them. Okay, so this is second chapter. Now we'll start the third chapter. Okay, so third chapter, Karma Yoga. Yeah, I think the third chapter name also is Karma Yoga only. It's given by Ramanujacharya. So it has again 4 sections. So first is Arjuna's question again, because Arjuna gets again confused. That we'll discuss whether he has to work or he has to renounce fighting. So then Krishna answers it very logically. He gives 3 reasons why Arjuna should fight. Then Krishna explains about some details of Karma Yoga again. Like some details we got in some aspects of Nishkama Karma we saw in the second chapter. Some more Krishna will explain. So what is Yajna, how it reduces our karma, how it removes, why it removes the sinful reactions, all that. If one does not perform Yajna, what will happen, all that Krishna tells. Then the fourth reason of Arjuna, so that Krishna addresses. Karma Yoga, so even if one is very completely purified, one can still perform Karma Yoga to set an example. So that aspect of that Krishna will, that will be discussed. Then So while performing Karma Yoga, one of the obstacles is lust. So how to deal with lust and all that Krishna will discuss. Okay. Now, because now the next immediate question is where Krishna will tell about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga. So this is some understanding, some analysis of what is Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga. So in Karma Yoga, so there are 5 aspects of each yoga. One is prescribed duties, which one has to follow based on the Vedas, and yeah, that is Varnashrama Dharma. Then there is knowledge aspect. Knowledge means transcendental knowledge, knowledge of Atma, knowledge of what is absolute truth, can be Brahman, Bhagavan, all that. Yeah, everyone should have some understanding of Vishnu also, Bhagavan. Yeah. Then there is renunciation of material desires, renunciation of fruits, all these things. And basically, yeah, renouncing our prescribed duty, renouncing the world that is there. Then meditation on the absolute truth. Then there is devotion. Devotion means rendering service to the Bhagavan. Now in Karma Yoga, the prescribed duties is very primary. Hmm. Knowledge is secondary, but you have to do your prescribed duties. Then renunciation is it's renunciation of fruits, but not renouncing the prescribed duties. Meditation, devotion are secondary, but yeah, devotion is also necessary. We saw in the earlier chapter. Then in Jnana Yoga, there is no prescribed duties because one has renounced. So knowledge is primary. So one has to study about the nature of the world and all this, and also about absolute truth. And meditation is secondary, and devotion is also secondary. But that element is compulsory. If you see in all yogas, devotion is there. In Dhyana Yoga, knowledge is secondary, but renunciation is primary and meditation is primary. But devotion is secondary. But in Bhakti Yoga, prescribed duties is secondary, knowledge is secondary. Renunciation is not necessary. Means one need not renounce the prescribed duties. Then meditation is also in one sense secondary, but devotional service primary. Of course, chanting we see more as a devotional service than as a meditation. So that is there. Okay. But we will eventually discuss these things at maybe in the yoga ladder in 6th chapter and then in 7th chapter also. Okay. So the first question of Arjuna. Arjuna Vacha
Arjuna Vacha
Jayasi Chet Karmanaste Mata Buddhir Janardana
Jayasi Chet Karmanaste Mata Buddhir Janardana
Tat Kim Karmani Ghore Mam Niyojayasi Keshava.
Tat Kim Karmani Ghore Mam Niyojayasi Keshava.
Yeah. Okay, one thing, yeah. Anyone has any doubt on the second chapter? Anything? Yes. Anyone has any question? So,
Guruji, I have one question to ask.
hmm.
Exam will be conducted after all 6 chapters or
Yes, yes.
recite
No, after 6 chapters.
all 6 chapters?
Yeah.
OBA also, then CBA and everything.
Yes, yes.
Recitation of slokas also.
Yes, yes. All the shlokas means whatever we are reciting daily, no, all have to be recited at once.
Thank you so much, Guruji.
Yeah. Okay, if no one has questions, we'll proceed. Okay, the translation. Arjuna said, "O Janardana, Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare? Ghore. Because when you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work." Why Arjuna has got this doubt is because Krishna told him, fight and get liberated. Tam tasmad yogaya yujjasva yoga karmasu kaushalam. Janma bandha vinirmukta padam gacchanti anamayam. So if you if anyhow we have to get liberated, then why we should do this, fight, why we should unnecessarily incur this sin of by fighting. Then Krishna also is indicating like focus your intelligence on Brahman and get liberated. Esha Brahmi Sthita Pada. So become situated in Brahman. So when Krishna is saying like this is the last but one shloka. So then Arjuna is asking, if we have to be situated in Brahman, why we should fight? Esha Brahma Sthiti Pada Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati Sthiti Vashyam Antakalepi Brahma Nirvana Vachati. So because of these kind of shlokas, Arjuna got this doubt. But another thing is Arjuna is also attached, some way, like not to fight. So that's why he's saying ghastly warfare. Then he's saying Janardana and Keshava. Janardana means if your duty is about welfare of people, if people are dear to you, why you are telling me to fight? Like that Krishna is saying. Like that Arjuna is saying. And one thing, another thing we can say is Arjuna is also very attentive listener. That's why he could got these questions. Another thing is this is something called as confirmation bias. So there is a human tendency to seek only information that supports one's position or idea. That is confirmation bias. Yeah, we will discuss about it. Maybe first we'll read the purport. Yes, bro, you can read the purport.
Sometimes Krishna consciousness is misunderstood to be inertia, and one with such misunderstanding often withdraws to a secluded place to become fully Krishna conscious by chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna. But without being trained in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, it is not advisable to chant the holy name of Krishna in a secluded place where one may acquire only cheap adoration from the innocent people, public. Arjuna also thought of Krishna consciousness or Buddhi Yoga or intelligence in spiritual advancement of the knowledge as something like retirement from active life and the practice of penance and austerity at a secluded place. In other words, he wanted to skillfully avoid the fighting by using Krishna consciousness as an excuse. But as a sincere student, he placed the matter before his master and questioned Krishna to his best course of action. In answer, Lord Krishna elaborately explained Karma Yoga or work in Krishna consciousness in this third chapter.
Yeah. So Krishna is going to give three reasons. Yeah, one thing is even though Arjuna has a doubt, he sincerely placed it before Krishna. So we see this example of confirmation bias even in case of Dhritarashtra also. Even Akrura advises, even Vyasadeva advises, even Vidura advises. He says no same thing like no, things are destined already. Like the Pandavas have to go to forest, or even this Draupadi disrobing. I think it is arranged by destiny, so we cannot do much about it. Like that, his space because he is attached to giving the kingdom to Kaurava, so he justifies his thing by this. Yeah, as Prabhupada also mentioned that as a sincere student, Arjuna placed the matter before Krishna. So similarly, it may be possible this human tendency may be there in us also in some way. But one thing is one need to have at least one or more devotees who can evaluate our mind. We may evaluate the entire world using our mind, but we need to have somebody who can evaluate our mind, our decisions, our desires, our thoughts, our understanding. At least one, two devotees we should have. Yeah. Confirmation bias is especially bad if one is trying to justify, one is going away by Krishna from Krishna consciousness because of that. Otherwise, it's okay. Means if one has a little different taste for service, uh, or different taste in bhakti, maybe Bhagavatam or something. That's okay. But confirmation bias we can reduce by being respectful to others, by being broad-minded and listening attentively, so that we will listen properly what they actually want to say instead of this thing. This is also called a selective hearing or something. Yeah. What is it? Okay. Now Arjuna is like defining his question more properly and asking Krishna to clarify. व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे
यामि श्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयस्य वै।
तद् एकं वद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयोऽहमप्नुयम्.
तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयो अहम् आप्नुयाम्.
My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively what will be beneficial for me. Yes, you can read the purport.
In the previous chapter, as a prelude to the Bhagavad Gita, many different paths were explained, such as Sankhya, Sankhya Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, control of senses by intelligence, work without fruitive desire, and the position of a neophyte. This was all presented unsystematically. A more organized outline of the path would be necessary for action and understanding. Arjuna therefore wanted to clear up these apparently confusing matters so that any common man could accept them without misinterpretation. Although Krishna had no intention of confusing Arjuna by any jugglery of words, Arjuna could not follow the process of Krishna consciousness, either by inertia or by active service. In other words, by his question, he is clearing the path of Krishna consciousness for all the students who seriously want to understand the mystery of Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah. So now Krishna is going to clearly describe what is Karma Yoga and what is Jnana Yoga, and he will clearly give the reasons why Arjuna has to perform Karma Yoga in this situation. Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Lokesmin Vividha Nishta Pura Proktamaya Naga
Lokesmin Dvivida Nishta Pura Prokta Maya Naga
Dhyana Yogena Sankyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam.
Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam.
Anaga means one who is sinless. Maya Anaga, Anaga, who sinless one. So yeah, Baldev Deobhushan translates in this way. The Lord said, I have spoken in the last chapter of two types of qualification for people of this world. Those qualified for Jnana are known as practitioners of Jnana Yoga, and those qualified for Nishkama Karma are known as practitioners of Karma Yoga. Pura Prokta means before, in the before discussion previously I spoke about. Yeah, Prabhupada's translation. Oh, sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation and others by devotional service. Yeah, these shlokas, they hint at Jnana Yoga. Prajahati Yada Kama. This is a description of the Sita Pragya. Yoga means that process by which a person is joined with Atma, Yujyate. This process in this case is knowledge, Jnana. Karma Yoga is Karmanyavadikaraste. These things are indicating Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga also yoga, since by that karma is person is joined. Okay. Okay, I'll read the purport. In the second chapter, verse 39, the Lord explained two kinds of procedures, namely Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. In this verse, the Lord explains the same more clearly. Sankhya Yoga or the analytical study. Sankhya Yoga also refers to Jnana Yoga. Study of the nature of spirit and matter, and is the subject matter for persons who are inclined to speculate and understand things by experimental knowledge and philosophy. So as we saw in the table, so their main focus is renouncing the world and focusing on the knowledge of the absolute. Of course, here Prabhupada is referring them as Krishna consciousness, but in the in some way in the context it is referring to Karma Yoga. The other class of men work in Krishna consciousness as it is explained in the 61st verse of the second chapter. Therefore, both the yogas are interdependent as religion and philosophy. Religion without philosophy is sentiment or sometimes fanaticism, while philosophy without religion is mental speculation. So ultimate goal is Krishna. Yeah. Yeah, means even knowledge is needed, but it is not the prime thing. But knowledge is needed. Then only the benefit in Karma Yoga one will get properly. And in Jnana Yoga also there is a need of devotion to absolute truth. Means one has to perform some. Yeah, one has to accept the authority of Vishnu. So that is the devotional element in Jnana Yoga, and one may also have to perform some deity worship and all. But along with the study of the scriptures. Okay. So now Krishna is giving, now first Krishna is clarifying the things. Na karmanam anaramba naishkarmyam purushoshnute.
Na karmanam anarambha naishkarmayan purushosnute.
न च संन्यासनाद् एव सिद्धिं समाधिगच्छति.
न च संन्यासनादेव सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति.
Yeah. So Krishna is telling, if you just stop doing your prescribed duties, it doesn't mean that you're freed from the reactions of your prescribed duties. And another thing, if you just renounce your prescribed duties and take sannyas, it doesn't mean that you'll get liberation. So both have some conditions. Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. So, as Prabhupada has previously clarified, that until and unless one is fully purified, one should not renounce prescribed duties. So, first there is a person, he has material desires, so he has to perform karma yoga. Then one is purified of sins and material desires. So then one can take sannyas. So just taking sannyas is not sufficient, but one has to fix his consciousness on Brahman, as we saw in the last verse of the second chapter. Esha Brahma Sthiti Partha. So that sannyas means renouncing the world has to be accompanied by fixing the consciousness on Brahman. So then one will attain liberation. Yeah. So not doing prescribed duties, no purification of sinful reactions, Naishkarmya will not happen. So, so one has to, if one has material desires, then one has to execute prescribed duties. But taking karma sannyas does not guarantee liberation. One has to be focused on Brahma with pure mind. If Arjuna just want to avoid his prescribed duties, it will take him nowhere. Because his previous sinful reactions will not get reduced. Yes.
Renounced,
Read the purport.
the renounced order of life can be accepted when one has been purified by the discharge of the prescribed form of duties which are laid down just to purify the hearts of the materialistic men. Without purification, one cannot attain success by abruptly adopting the fourth order of life, sannyas. According to the empirical philosophers, simply by adopting sannyas or retiring from fruitive activities, one at once becomes as good as Narayan. But Lord Krishna does not approve this principle. Without purification of heart, sannyas is simply a disturbance to the social order.
Yeah. So Prabhupada is again emphasizing that there should be purification of heart. Then only one should take sannyas. Yeah, in the Advaita Sampradaya, as we discussed while discussing Ishopanishad, Dhanda Grahana Matrene Nara Narayano Bhave. So they think if one takes sannyas, one gets liberation. But that is not the thing. Uh, by taking sannyas, one should also have the ability to concentrate on the Brahman. Yeah. Yeah, means fixing Brahman means fixing our mind in Brahman means needs lot of level of purity. So that is a little more difficult, and that needs a lot of purification. So that's why sannyas needs a lot of purification. But for doing prescribed duties, that much level of purification is not in it. So one can start that. So generally in the beginning stage of Krishna consciousness, meditation is very difficult. So 25%, but activity has to be more, 75%. But for an advanced devotee, activity may be less, but they may be able to meditate more, 75%. So in one sense, they may not be active externally, but they're active internally. But the neophyte, he cannot be active internally, so therefore he has to be active externally. Yeah, now Krishna is giving the first reason why Arjuna has to perform karma yoga only. Nahi kaschit shanamapi jatu tishtati akarmakrit.
न हि कश्चित् क्षणम् अपि जातु तिष्ठति अकर्मकृत्.
Karyate hi avashah karma sarva prakriti jair gunai.
कार्य कार्यते हि अवश्य कर्म सर्व प्रकृति जैर्गुणे.
The translation, everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. Yes, bro, you can read the highlighted portion.
It is not a question of embodied life, but it is the nature of the soul to be always active. Without the presence of the spirit soul, the material body cannot move. The body is only a dead vehicle to be worked by the spirit soul, which is always active and cannot stop even for a moment. As such, the spirit soul has to be engaged in a good work of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, it will be engaged in occupations dictated by illusory energy. In contact with the material energy, the spirit soul acquires material modes. And to purify the soul from such affinities, it is necessary to engage in prescribed duties enjoined in the Shastras.
Yeah. So it is the nature of the soul itself to be active. So if it is not active in the prescribed duties, it will be anyhow become made active by the influence of the modes of material nature. So if Arjuna does not perform his prescribed duties, so he may, but that fighting nature will be there, and he may fight in a unproductive and not destructive way. So that will create problem for him also and for others also. So that is what Krishna is telling. Yeah.
गंदवस छोड़ी
Uh,
जाने छी करीने में को अच्छा
Yeah, so one should not just, that's what as Krishna also told, if you just stop doing activities, it's not that you will be purified. So modes of material nature are always acting on the conditioned soul. So even if one is fully sleeping also, then mode of ignorance is acting on them. So see, if one is not doing as per the laws of Krishna given by Krishna, or devotional, as devotional service or as performing prescribed duties, one will be whimsically engaged by the modes of material nature, and that will be disturbance to others also, and that will be disturbance to oneself. Okay, now the second reason of which Krishna is giving, कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन्
कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन्
इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचारस्य उच्यते.
इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचार स उच्यते.
So another reason which Krishna is giving is one will be a hypocrite. If one does not is not purified internally, but he is renouncing externally everything, so then one will be a hypocrite, because one will be contemplating the objects of sense gratification internally instead of fixing one's mind on Brahman. The translation: one who restrains the senses of action but whose mind dwells on sense objects certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. Yes, Pro, you can read.
But he who makes a show of being a yogi while actually searching for the objects of sense gratification must be called a greatest cheater, even though he sometimes speaks of philosophy. His knowledge has no value because the effects of such a sinful man's knowledge are taken away by the illusory energy of the Lord. Such a pretender's mind is always impure, and therefore his show of yogic meditation has no value whatsoever.
Hmm. So one will become a pretender. Okay, should we discuss that? Hmm. Okay, you can take maybe 3 minutes, or yeah, you can take 3 minutes, and you can think about these three questions. Why there is a tendency to neglect prescribed duties, and yeah, examples of perfected devotees in renounced order, example of perfected or advanced devotees in householder order.
This is from Shastras or
Yeah,
like
from Shastras or our Sampradaya. Need not be current examples. Yes, for the first question, why there is a tendency to neglect prescribed duties?
Can I answer, Prabhuji?
Yes, bro.
There is a tendency to neglect the prescribed duties due to the lack of mind control, and mind is not in control, the senses are not in control.
Mhm.
So, and
Okay, fine.
okay,
Yeah, fine. Okay. Anyone else?
and due to ajnan also, the avidya also.
Yeah, we can say that. Yes. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, anyone else wants to answer? Okay. Yes, Sharad Prabhu.
Proj the word, the way it has been designed, so
Mm.
everything falls down. So our consciousness also goes down to ignorance. So if we don't act and uh, consciously remain in goodness, so it goes to ignorance. So
Mhm.
because of that, also by not remaining in the mode of goodness,
Yeah, so we
we
don't want to
tend
be
to,
beautiful. Yeah,
yeah,
because it takes hard effort and no.
yeah.
Okay, fine, good. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, so that is one good reason. And more we'll discuss also further. Okay, give examples of perfect devotees in Renault's order.
Can I answer, Prabhuji?
Uh, yeah, let's see if yes, bro, as known as right. Yes.
Can I answer?
Yes.
Azamil?
Jamil, he's not renounced order. Okay, you can say third
Yeah,
phase.
he renounced after that when
Yeah,
he was
third
given
phase.
the.
Yes. Okay.
He was
Okay.
renounced.
Next. Anyone else? Okay. Anyone else?
Prabhupada.
Okay. Yes. Yes, Sharad Pro.
Bilva Mangal Thakur.
Okay. Fine. Yes. Okay. Yes, there are six Goswamis. Any others? Narad Muni, Kumaras, many others. Okay. Give example of perfected devotees in the householder order.
Amrish Maharaj.
Okay. Amrita Mataji.
Same answer, bro. Amrit Maharaj.
Okay. Amrish Maharaj. Okay. Yeah, in the last chapter we discussed. Yes, Srikant Pro.
Ji Bhaktivinoda Thakur,
Yes, Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
Tukaram Maharaj,
Yeah. Yeah,
Janak.
there are. Yes. Very good. Thank you. Fine. Okay. So in both means it's not like renunciation has to be mandatory for devotional service, but in principle, there is need of initial renunciation. Like at least in ISKCON, there should be initial renunciation in form of following four regulative principles. And also to chant 16 rounds, one need to get up early and give time. And also, so to begin some proper devotional service, we need some initial renunciation. But after that, to advance in devotion, slowly one has to increase renunciation. But that may come outcome of devotional service also. So that has to happen progressively, not overnight. Like devotional service also, it leads to detachment, but it can be external detachment in form of external renunciation. So one may perform more sadhana, more bhajan, or it can be internal detachment. So one may do more service, but still one may do more service, more preaching, more responsibility one may take up also. So it can be both. Okay. So here is one conversation by Sachinandan Maharaj, one devotee. So where Maharaj tells some reasons why devotees wants to renounce in the beginning.
movement or spiritual movement, the adherents or followers are only into this, and then later as the movement grows, they also need to take care of other things.
Okay.
Family concerns, for instance, everyone is a celibate monk when they join, and then concentrates really on the spiritual practice. And after some time, some may decide, no, let me also have a family, and then other concerns come in. So I think it's permissible. We have to excuse our super enthusiastic devotees who may have been a little irrealistic. They tried to give up the body and the mind and all their concerns, but they found out later, oops, the body and mind is still there and it has some needs. Also, you must know historically, Lord Chaitanya's movement has role examples. The 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, who gave up everything.
Just 1 minute, if you don't mind. Can I just respond to the previous point before you go to the second point? Because
yes, please.
So that was very striking. So I've read in sociological studies about the zeal of the new convert, that whenever somebody joins, but I had thought of it more in terms of they want to convert everyone to their path. And that is true. That is, I have got the answers and everybody accept it, and everybody else in ignorance. But it can also, so that you could say almost some form of extremism or fanaticism that can come not only in terms of imposing one's ideas on others, but also imposing those ideas on oneself in a way that may not be sustainable or realistic on the long run. So it could be almost like two sides of the same thing. Yes. One way is external on the world, and another is on one's own body and mind also. So would you echo, is that similar to what you are saying, more or less?
100%, yes. I would say the first, it starts with, wow, I found it, and nothing else counts, everything. I knew I was not becoming happy. And then the second step, wow, this, everyone should take this, and it's so good. And sometimes Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, another very unfortunate thing comes. It's only a theoretical finding. It's only a conceptual agreement, but it is not realized. And because it's not realized, because the individual has not yet found peace and is not yet deeply rooted, he overcompensates his own weakness, his own doubts by running into the world and trying to make everyone a follower of, because that would give him finally the peace of mind. Yes, others also agree with it. Fanaticism is always an overcompensation of weakness. We do not find realized souls fanatic. We find them very integrating, very compassionate towards others, trying to see how they can help, on what level they can help, how much to give, how much to not give of the philosophy.
That's amazing. Like fanaticism is an expression of overcompensation. It's such a striking thought. Once you put it in the, sometimes some truths are inchoate, they are there in the background, nascent, but once they're articulated, it makes so much sense. This is so, it's so self-evident once it's made evident. So thank you, Maharaj. So one reason you mentioned was that it is just natural in the process of spiritual growth. And the other reason I think you're mentioning that our exemplars are renunciates. Was that the point?
The 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, they, as you know, were very renounced out. They stayed every night under a different tree. That means they had no dwelling where they would permanently be. Only later they had bhajan stalis where they would do their bhajans, Ter Kadamba, and and Pavan Sarovar and other places, but they were very renounced. We have stories of Sanatana Goswami offering his deity every day a little, it was not even a full chapati, a little bowl of roasted grains, and then Lord Madan Mohan says, can't you just offer me a little salt at least? So he was so renounced, Sanatana Goswami, and they wrote the books. They gave the philosophy. They made the first temples of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. They established the foundation, but it is necessary to understand their sense, their renunciation was a state of consciousness, which you call vairagya. The world had lost their colors of attraction, and only the spiritual world was attractive for them. It was a sign of their great love for Krishna. They didn't practice renunciation. They didn't have to struggle, or should I take a cold shower or warm shower, or should I eat less? No, that was not even in their mind. We who are not like this and who practice renunciation without having that state of mind, we need another medicine which the Goswamis gave us. And I want to quote it, what Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami said about proper renunciation. And you will, I don't know, how do you respond to what I said? The role model of the Vrindavan Goswamis gave us an example and an ideal of renunciation.
Yes, Maharaj. I mean, it's now that you're speaking this, a lot of thoughts are going on in my mind. While the Goswamis exemplified extraordinary renunciation, but in their books, they did not really standardize that. Like one of the principles in Rupa Goswami is saying that, a devotee should not be neglectful in ordinary activities. And Prabhupada gives example, like even brushing your teeth, we should be attentive. So in one sense, we could say the exemplars are exceptions. Like, is it that we would like to go at that level, but unless we have that love of God, artificially trying to go at that level can be counterproductive.
Yeah, as Maharaj told, one of the reasons is that all the role models in our Sampradaya, except Bhaktivinoda Thakur in one sense, are renunciates. And also, as Maharaj discussed also, that in the initial days, there is some kind of insecurity, and one wants to address that insecurity by renouncing the world, or by forcing others to renounce, or no. So that is another reason. And even if you say, even our philosophy is also based on Bhagavatam, which is again a discussion between two renunciates. In one sense, Parikshit Maharaj has renounced the world, and Sukadeva Goswami is also renunciate. If you contrast Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, in Bhagavatam, no, Sukadeva Goswami says, what is the need of pillow? You have your hand. What is the need of houses? You have caves. What is the need of clothes? There are rags on the street. So like that, there are, and what is the need of roof? There is sky. So that is the kind of thing Sukadeva Goswami is saying. Because Sukadeva Goswami is preparing Parikshit Maharaj to leave the world. But in contrast, Bhagavad Gita is, Krishna is asking Arjuna, is inspiring Arjuna to engage with the world. So then Krishna has to tell like Arjuna asked the question, how to see you in everything in the world. So Krishna tells, in this you see me like this, in this you see me like this, like this, like this. So it's a different thing. And there is a lot of emphasis on doing your action, act in the world and all. So that is also one reason. And also our movement also began in counterculture, where the hippies and the initial devotees, they have rejected the world. So Prabhupada gave them some philosophical support for their rejection of the world. So that is also one reason. So that's why these are some reasons. Also, why there may be a little more emphasis on renunciation, but one has to understand, as as Maharaj told, it's a theoretical and realization, but there is no practical realization. But there is no realized knowledge, that is theoretical knowledge. So unless it becomes realized knowledge, as Prabhupada also in all the previous purports emphasized on getting internally purified before renouncing, so that has to be there. And in one sense, over time also, one has to renounce slowly. Like initially, one may have the energy to eat lot of sweets and all, but over time, the digestion and there will be many limitations on doing sense gratification, and life also, like over some time the duties will get over, children will grow, and also one has to be forced also to renounce. So that is also there. Okay, so yeah, next reason and other things we'll discuss in next class. Okay, any questions?
Prabhuji, I have one question to ask.
Hmm.
See, everybody, we don't read the Bhagavad Gita and start gradually. Like we don't come in bhakti in the sequence
Hmm.
as it is required.
Hmm.
Like as far as myself is concerned, I heard mind's lecture, Srila Prabhupada's lectures on mind.
Hmm.
And when I heard the lectures on mind, I was very much convinced for that.
Hmm.
So different people have different ways, different conditioning, different criteria. Even they may not be things may not be clear to them initially.
Hmm.
Some people, they are fortunate to get the proper algorithm,
Yeah.
but it is not the case with the others. Like I am also one of them. Now, in such cases, when we look behind, we have committed mistakes.
Hmm. I mean,
So how to
yeah.
overcome these things?
See, one thing is that is a part of the process. Like even if we go, even if there is a systematic education, even in, let's say, in the professional education, the student commits mistakes, and that is a part of
Yes.
learning. They learn from their mistakes. So even in the professional world, the education is really standardized, systematic, and all. So we have to see it more like it's a part of the process. And yeah, if we once, yeah, that's what thing is. We can see, like, okay, we have seen, okay, this mistake has come because of this. Okay, maybe we have not learned it in a systematic way. So we can see with whatever means we have, we can try to have a systematic education and all. So and over time it should reduce that.
And it creates lots of hurdles. By the way, the things
Uh,
becomes more complicated.
yeah, one thing is, see, one thing we have to understand, because we are not fully purified. If we are 100% pure, then bhakti is very simple. That's why Prabhupada told bhakti is simple but not easy, because we are conditioned. So bhakti means in terms of knowledge and philosophy, it is complex. So we have to see how much we can handle that complexity. So to that only we can learn, and other things we can depend on the guidance of one who has this, like, no, you can say 360 degrees knowledge, and no, who can guide us as based on that knowledge. So one has to see how much one can go deep in learning the shastra, etc. It's
And
not
one
that.
more last question. Yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry, Prabhu.
Yeah, please tell.
One more last question. In such circumstances, is one is trying to be dependent on the God.
Mm, okay, yeah.
He is trying to be dependent on Krishna, and he takes the guidance. He is an association of devotees.
Mm.
He is taking guidance.
So
But
guidance from
ultimately,
devotees or guidance from Krishna?
Krishna's guidance as a Paramatma, or from the devotees as their messengers.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, what you want to say means, what is the question?
No, my last and ultimate question is this:
Yeah.
if everything, every out of everything, and
Yeah.
one comes to the conclusion that
Hmm.
ultimately dependence creates on the Krishna
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
his holy name
Hmm.
may not be pure,
Hmm.
but the holy name is helping in any form. Like cane juice, as you know, you only give the examples.
Hmm.
Cane juice, if it is taken in any form, it is sweet only. It cannot harm.
No, sugarcane juice. No, we cannot say like that. No? See, if sugarcane juice is contaminated or adulterated, then it will affect the health. No?
No, I'm
So,
just giving it from the perspective point of view. Like chanting,
hmm.
chanting the holy name of the Lord,
Hmm.
though may not be so perfect, maybe on Namaprad base only.
Hmm. See,
But
if we read Harinam Chintamani,
yeah,
Namaparad, if one is chanting, Namaparad also there is one has to understand what is Namaparad, which means one is chanting holy name for a material purpose. It's something like no one is chanting and is also doing something else all the time of chanting. So that is something like Namaparad. So it Bhaktivinoda Thakur says Namaparad as actually increases one's material desires if one does that. Correct? So
okay.
see, chanting needs Shraddha, and Shraddha is not Shraddha increases gradually. And one thing is it's a principle of the entire foundation of devotional service, that devotional service has to be learned and it comes through devotees. Means in Madhurya Kadamani book, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur explains in the first chapter the entire thing that Krishna does not give devotional service to anyone. It comes through devotees.
It comes
So
to devotees. Yes.
it comes through devotees. So this is one of the very basic principle. And through devotees, we learn whatever devotion we acquired. So with that, we can offer something to Krishna. But the more devotion, more, especially in the initial years or at sadhaka stage, our devotional advancement happens more through hearing from devotees and serving the devotees and all, then offering it to Krishna and Krishna reciprocating with us in terms of purification. That also happens, but that may not be so prominent in the initial days. So that is one thing. And yes, chanting is the solution, but chanting needs a level of Shraddha. And for that Shraddha, you need sadhu sangha, you need how to chant. One needs to learn how to chant from devotee association. If you see Harinam Chintamani, for all the solutions of aparadas, Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives many of the solutions as chanting in the association of devotees. So that is there. So we cannot separate and say that we are chanting and Krishna will help. So, but both are interconnected. Actually, the more we connect to Krishna and get reciprocation from Krishna, we will also feel humble, and we want to increase our devotion by learning from devotees. Actually, they both complement each other. It's not as separate paths, but they're both mutually complement each other.
But without faith, Prabhuji, nobody will try to chant more, no? If somebody is having faith, then only he will try to chant more.
See, we cannot. Yeah, faith means. So that's what one has to see. I cannot like tell in a particular case why one is chanting more. I heard like there is one proper disciple. She's uh, she's also a chaplain, means yeah, she is into psychology and all. She has developed many courses for devotees on psychology. She told like one brahmachari was there. He had some psychological problem, but he thought it will if he chant 64 rounds, it will get done. So he chanted 64 rounds in Vrindavan, I think maybe for 10 years and all. After that, he left Krishna consciousness. Then it took him some maybe 10-15 years again to come back. So now I cannot tell in a particular case why one is chanting 16 rounds more. There are many things, like there are different things like There are devotees who chant 16 more rounds, but they don't hear any authority. They have offensive mentality towards devotees. So it can be just not to suppress one's emotions and different things. But so that's what one has to take guidance of mature devotee. Uh, Chanting more rounds generally should be done with blessings. Means, yeah, if you're chanting little more rounds on a festival day, or one round you're chanting extra on every day, it's okay. But let's say you're chanting 16 rounds and you want to go to 32 rounds every day. So for that, it's always good to take blessings of senior devotees and take guidance. Because to maintain that number also every day, you need some guidance and you need a lot of strength to maintain that number also. So you should do a lot of hearing and so then so for that one needs guidance. Then to proceed more from 32 rounds and all, one needs guidance.
And Krishna is reciprocating with the devotee. Whatever he is doing, the Krishna is reciprocating with the devotees.
So
In
Krishna's
the form of
in the form of
through devotees, he is reciprocating through devotees and through spiritual masters, devotees.
I mean through what? I mean in terms of what?
See, devotees, when you discuss something, they give appropriate answers to those questions.
Yeah, see,
They are
basically more chanting, one needs to take guidance, one needs to take blessings. If it is especially many more rounds, so this is one thing. Now, whether something is Krishna's reciprocation or not also, so there is Shastra. Krishna's reciprocation is very clear. One gets more detached from the world and one develops more attraction to Krishna and one develops more attraction to even Bhakti. So this is there. So if that is happening, and that has to be also evaluated by guidance of some particular devotee. So as we discussed, we should have somebody who will evaluate us. We may be evaluating many devotees, many things in the world on our own, by our own understanding, but we should have at least 1, 2 devotees who can evaluate our own understanding, our own decisions. That is needed. Does it help in any way, or we can discuss?
yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
It is like Shastric point of view also,
Yeah.
and the affinity for Krishna, that longing for Krishna, to serve Krishna,
Yeah.
to serve devotees,
Yeah.
to be part of each and every festival.
Yeah.
So all these things, without Lord's mercy is not possible. Without Lord's
Yeah.
and devotees' mercy, it is not possible.
That is okay. That is fine. Means we can attribute that no, these things are coming by Lord's mercy, but one should not think no, I am advanced. That's why these things are coming to me. So that yeah.
Not because of advancement, but somehow something good is happening.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
That is good. That
at
is
least
good.
for regulative principles we are following,
Yeah, yeah. That
and
is fine. That is fine. Yeah.
taking. So in any way, it is not harmful from any point of view.
Yeah, yeah. We have to also see that devotees are also reciprocating with us. We should not again just see Krishna's reciprocation, but devotees are also reciprocating with us. It also blessings of spiritual master, also blessings of other devotees. Because
And what
devotees,
about? Sorry,
yes,
sorry,
yes.
Prabhuji. Please.
Yeah, because devotees are also they independent, means they have devotion. It's not like just Krishna makes them like remote control or something. They have compassion, they have caring nature and all. So on that also they act. Okay.
And what would you like to say if suppose the spiritual master, Vaishnavas, Srila Prabhupada,
Yeah.
they are coming into the dream and they are reciprocating?
No dreams and all. So one has to discuss. See, these things I cannot say because I have to know somebody, what is their background in Krishna consciousness and all. Then we can say, okay, this is a dream or this is a genuine dream, not and all. Yeah. I cannot comment on that in a
Okay,
subjective
Prabhuji, no
way.
problem. Sorry, I have taken much of
Yeah.
your
Okay,
time.
take care. Okay, thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
So Thank you very much for your patient hearing and participation. So
Thank you so much for tolerating me, Prabhuji.
No. Your questions are good. So thank
Thank you
you.
so much,
So
Prabhuji.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So
Srimad Bhagavad Gita.
happy Janmashtami for everyone. Once again.
Yes.
Thank you,
A
Prabhuji.
very happy
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Janmashtami. Thank
Hare
you. Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Happy Janmashtami, Prabhuji. Dandot Pranam.
Happy.